to let you go first since you're our guest.
Okay. It's a really cool opportunity. I appreciate it again.
Thank you, man. This is great. I'm so happy you're here. I can't wait till we get the meal out. We can go have it together at Santa Monica. We'll
Okay.
meet up or something.
Okay.
All right, Chef Shane, here we go.
Thank you very
There's
much.
an apron for you. Suit up. So we're gonna jump in right away and start making our Thanksgiving meal. We're gonna start with our stuffing. So you wanna jump in and
All right.
we'll grab the celery. I'll do the onions.
I like the way this knife feels.
Is that knife sharp enough for you, Chef?
Yeah, I like the way it feels. It has a great feel to it. What made you guys come up with this concept?
You know, Thanksgiving is such an important time of year for so many people and families. And I think no matter where you sit, it's a time to take stock and be thankful for your life and the things that are in your life that mean something. And so, you know, for us, I think your story and your passion around food, not just food, but doing good and doing good in your community just it was just such a perfect pairing and fit. So we were just really excited to do this and get in the kitchen with you.
Well, thanks. I'm glad I can inspire something. It's
Absolutely.
always nice to know that you have inspiration in life, especially through food.
Your story is very inspiring. I think we should share it with the world, you know?
Thank you. Today I was asked to come and be a part of a monumental thing. What got me started was a publicist that I met a while back. He told me this mantra of what you believe is what you'll become. He said, if you're not sure of what you want to be in your life, he said, take your time to go to a newsstand, look at multiple magazines or look at whatever it is that catches your eye, and that's what you become. I did what he asked. I went to a newsstand and I started looking at a bunch of magazines, and I kept gravitating towards food magazines, you know, cakes, you know, pastas, steaks, you name it. Everything that you can name of that was food, you know, orientated, that was me. I started working in the kitchen and started to fall in love with the fact that somebody believed in me and somebody seen my passion within my food, and it was great to know that I can put a smile on everybody's face with my food. I grew up with a single mother of like 12 kids, a bunch of brothers and sisters. There was times where my mom would be too tired to cook or whatnot, so I would jump in and try to cook. It was my worst time ever cooking, learning the process, too much salt, too much pepper, too much this, too much that. But I kind of stayed with it and tried to modify those heavy hands on the seasoning part. And as I grew older, I kind of lost sight of it, didn't think that that was something that was a passion of mine. That's when I, like later in my years, I started to, I met the publicist, but before that, it was all construction. Before that, kind of stir away from the food aspect of life, thinking that that was just like something to do just for my brothers and sisters, but didn't realize it was bigger than it was. I came across my friend's place at one of my lowest points in my life. I got kicked out of my house and I had to figure out how to survive. And you can call it tough love or whatnot, but I met my friend's place when I was hungry. I was really, really hungry, and they gave me a Hot Pocket. And I was like, oh man, we could do something better with this. Being a part of my friend's place was a really high point in my life, because when you're left in the wilderness on your own, it's kind of scary because you don't know what to do, what step to take. You don't know, what's your next meal or your next adventure. It's kind of just thrown at you and you got to figure it out. Having my friend's place really kind of put a structure in my life to understand that there's certain things in my life that needed to have priorities, and certain things in my life that were fun times, or, times that if I had extra time, that would be it. Yeah, it was a big point in my life, big focal point. Amazing, trustworthy, and always there. Literally always there. One of the best drop-in centers across the world. I mean, hands down. Like, they took their time to really push the agenda that, like, don't be afraid to ask. In that situation, being homeless, you are scared to ask. You don't know who to ask. Like, even asking for a change on the side of the street, people are like, no. And a lot of the times you learn great lessons in life being homeless, like learning that no is, you can get 1,000 no's before you get that one yes. It's an unfortunate situation, but if you have somebody like my friend's place, they'll help you stay away from going down the rabbit hole that most people get stuck. And that's why it's one of the epidemics in this world right now is homelessness. You know, a lot of people just need that helping hand to get a second chance to start all over again. You know, I call it the rebuilding years, you know, because you hit a snag in the road and some people have families, some people have help, not everybody, you know, and that's a big problem in the world. My friend's place helped me believe that to stop thinking so negative about myself. I was always putting other people before me and always thinking everything that I did was always bad. But they helped me realize like I'm a great person, you know. Sometimes, you know, telling yourself you're a great person is not the same as knowing, or especially hearing from somebody else that actually seen you do something that was nice, or, you know, in that form. And sometimes you got people that really just beat themselves up for everything they do just because whatever lifestyle they were, you know, their uprisings. I think they were just a great parent figure, you know, or guardian, you know, through a time that was just very dark and scary, you know. Living on the streets, it's you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow, you know. And I always say the best quote from a rapper is Kanye West. Tomorrow's never promised today, and it's so true because you can wake up or you can't, and it's a blessing just to know that even though those dark times are hitting you, you have somebody like my friend's place to go, hey, it's okay. It's okay to be okay, you know, or it's okay not to be okay, but we're here. Aaron, Heather, and a couple other have been like a light of mine in my dark life. They've been there for times that I don't know. I shouldn't have been here a couple of times, and because of them and their advocacy, like they've really like helped me be here and have a daughter today and have a wife at one time, you know, and a lot of good things that happen in my life. I like to say they contribute to it. It was great to know that even though they like take their time out of their, you know, their busy schedule to still try to make an effort to make sure that, you know, hey, Shane's gonna be okay, or so and so's gonna be okay. Like we just want to make sure you're gonna be okay. That's what I love about them, you know, like their focus is very loud and clear on what they want to do. Their message is very straightforward. Let's give a helping hand to the world that needs hope. Everytable is an amazing opportunity right now. What's great about it is that they partnered up with a drop-in center that really wants to make an effort to the world to show that, you know, life can be very fun and very fulfilling. The message across the world is don't worry, just live in the moment, because a lot of the times we're always focused on work, you know, bills and all this other stuff. And sometimes you just need that reassurance that like life is still there, you know, you can still breathe and smell the roses. And also too, it's like a really great opportunity because my wife probably would have loved the hell out of this. Excuse my French. She's a big fan of mine, even though she likes Gordon Ramsay, but she's a big fan of mine. She's always wanted the best for me and always wanted the world to see me and have the food that I can give to the world, you know? Trying to spread that kind of message means a lot, you know? Like showing people that you can connect with human beings on a different level is awesome. Stephanie. That's all I can say. Now, she was an amazing woman. She grew up very simple, you know, church faring girl. You know, wanted a life that I would say most women want. You know, a marriage, you know, a happy family, you know, all that good stuff. I love the fact that she had the biggest heart in the world, metaphorically and physically. I never met somebody that was willing to give their everything to show somebody that there are good people in this world. I love that about her because this world never really has the moment to really understand what everybody's going through. Like a lot of people just push through, not knowing, and it's not their fault because everybody lives in their own world, not knowing that other people have either the same problems but just in a different way. A lot of the times, people not knowing somebody else, their first reaction is all attitude or anger, and with her, it was always, "Let me help you. What can I do for you? What's next? Oh, do you need this? You need that?" I can't even count on my hands and toes or my daughter's hands and toes on how many people my wife has made some sort of impact. It's crazy to know that, that she's not here right now to see this. And I wish she was, because these are these are one of those moments that are forever and I won't be able to see her anymore. And I think that most people take life for granted. And even though in her situation, knowing what she was in store for, most of us don't know when we're gonna, leave this planet. And some of us do. And I think that you knowing probably would change your perspective on life. You not knowing will always be what it is today. I always appreciate her having in my life because a lot of people, like I say, tend to forget how to respect one another. It's very hard in this world because we're just so busy. She's the epitome of stop and smell the roses. So I met my wife before my friend's place. I met her while I was actually in a relationship. Again, what's so nice about her is that she was like, "Well, I like you, you like me, but you're in a relationship and that's not what I do." So she was very respectful, and it's one of those situations where you tell yourself, is this something you want to let go, or are you willing to, like make a ruckus in your life to make, a point or whatnot? We ended up separating for some time. I was actually at my lowest point in my life when she met me at my friend's place. I was wearing a orange shirt, really big, like 3 times my size, some yellow sweats, and some brown Vans. Very just unorganized, uncoordinated, whatnot. And I don't know what it was, but she seen me out of everybody, and she jumped on top of my lap, and she was like, excited about seeing me. We ended up going to her house, and she said, "Go get your stuff off the side of the freeway and come live with me." We didn't, like, our real anniversary is December 24th. And I remember this clearly because she lived on 3rd and Kingsley, and we stayed in this apartment complex that had a roof. And we went to the top of the roof with an umbrella while it was raining and thundering and lightning. And I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And so we ended up having our first kiss on December 24th. At that point, history is what it is today, like relationships are beautiful when you're willing to work for it. Just like life, you build relationships with many people, and you get the beautiful part of it is all the gifts and abundance of love that you can get from all around the world or from whatever your situation is. It was nice. It was just nice to be married to somebody that understood me and had a lot of like belief that I can do better and show the world what I have. So there was this one time I had just got a job, and we just probably 2 weeks in the relationship, she said that she was trying to get me Red Robins, and she found that the time management was going to be a little bit off, and she wanted to make sure I had food when I got home. I told her, I was like, "It's not necessary. I'm good. And I cook for a living like I'm probably eating now." So I ended up going home, and she had made spaghetti with frozen meatballs and jalapenos. I thought it was amazing because she was like, "Oh, I put the jalapenos in there because I know you're Latino and all that stuff." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I love the correlation here. I love spice, Tex-Mex, I get it." I started laughing. Ever since then, I found that anytime that we had a moment where we weren't vibing, food would always bring us back. It was amazing because like later, like probably I want to say 6 months down the road, we found ourselves in another situation where I had to cook out of a microwave. And it was crazy because I made spaghetti out of a microwave. She was so impressed because she was like, I've never had spaghetti like this. And I'm like, oh, you just had microwave spaghetti. Like, let me actually cook the sauce for you and whatnot. But she was like, no, I'm just impressed that you can cook out of a microwave. And we did like homemade meatballs and, spaghetti sauce. And it was a process, trust me. We started at like 12 in the afternoon, maybe 11 a.m. And I wasn't finished until about 8 or 9 at night. A lot of microwave. I mean, that poor microwave, I was surprised it made it through the night. When it came to holidays, my wife was a big, firm believer of not doing things so traditionally. Our first year together, we made a Chipotle rub turkey. The way I put it together, I don't think it was going to be really good. And I was like crossing my fingers and I was hoping because it was the first time I ever did it. So, you get one turkey. So you better make it right, I guess I hit the spot and she was like, forget this. No more regular turkeys. We're having different turkeys every year. And so traditionally for us, we always switched it up. So we had like a rosemary sage, chipotle, lemon pepper. And I believe the last one we had was, I want to say like a Korean spicy turkey. That was very unique, I think. It was weird. I liked it, but it was weird. But yeah, I just try to do something different all the time. Give a twist to holidays. Why be so uniform? Let's think outside the box. And that's what I liked about her. She never had things one way. It always had to be different, just like sushi. She was like, let's have sushi this way and then let's do sushi another way. And it's always good to know that somebody's always thinking of life, how food is. It's an endless combination of, food, There's always something you can mix with food. And like food is just like life, it brings abundance of joy to you, especially when you eat it. Everybody's always happy. Everybody's at their happiest moment, especially in holidays. I like to say it's the food, not the holiday, but we can argue the point of what it is, that's fine. Yeah, sympathy goes a long way, and knowing that you're sympathetic to knowing that you're not the only one that goes through problems, and being understanding that you have problems, they have problems, and not always trying to be so aggressive because you don't know each other. I think in this world, we got to understand that love, it doesn't just mean, oh, I love you because you're my girlfriend or you're my kid or anything like that. Love can mean just the basic, I understand you're human. I understand you got problems. Your problems might be more or less. That's why you never judge anybody by their problems. And you never assume that you have more than the other because you never know what that next person's going through. Just always be kind and just know that if you take the time to understand where somebody's coming from, it might help you in your situation. You might understand that, oh man, my life is not that bad. Or you might realize I'm pretty good at this. I might be able to help somebody, work themselves through something, because in this world, suicide is one of the leading causes of death in this world. And that goes with the fact that nobody's willing to listen. And that's what I mean by being sympathetic, is that you take the time to listen. I know it sounds like it's taking too much time of your day because we only have 24 hours a day, and majority of the time you're working. But again, just stop and be sympathetic and understand, because again, life can be given to you, but also taken from you at any time. Yeah.
And I think you said it best, like, food is the best way to express yourself and show that passion. I think, again, like your passion for food is so admirable. So let's go, chef. Here we go. We're going to go and saute. Beauty.
There you go.
You keep an eye on that. I'm going to grab a spoon for us.
Put a little bit more, right?
Yeah, you can go a little bit more celery. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
We were just talking about celery salt, right?
Yeah.
How it's a nice background, complex flavor.
I think it's a better choice of salt, though. That's just me personally.
Celery salt versus just regular salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to get like a really good salt, then like a Himalayan salt, it's always nice.
Yeah.
it's all about the right seasonings and the right level of everything that you put together.
Yeah.
It's so funny because a lot of people don't understand that there's a science to this. You can't just throw it all together and
Right.
think it's going to taste good. You have to know how much of this, how much of that, all that, the metrics.
And I think part of the proof of that is you could give 10 people the same recipe and get 10 different results, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not about necessarily the recipe. There's so much more to it, technique and method. And, we were talking about salt, and, one of the things that I work hard to incorporate in our menu is using other techniques and flavors to kind of be able to not rely on salt and sodium as much. So, right, herbs and acidity and other umami-rich things like soy sauce or Worcestershire. We're going to use a little bit of Worcestershire in our gravy.
Isn't that a tough word to say?
Worcestershire. It's harder to spell.
Yeah. Everybody around the world has a different way of saying it.
So, and then we have our breadcrumbs here.
See, I was waiting for it.
All right, chef, there it is. I didn't spill any.
Great job.
So I think we're good. So we're going to go in there.
Okay.
And then, let's do this.
Oh, man, it smells amazing.
Smells good.
Yeah.
So now we can start adding some of the other ingredients, and then we're going to add our veg stock. So do you want to add maybe some of the other ingredients we have?
Sure.
So this is some salt, some white pepper.
You want me to throw the whole thing or just kind of gauge it?
You can gauge it, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I like
That
the
looks
salt.
good, yeah. Some fresh thyme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Smells nice. Smells like Thanksgiving, right?
Man, I think this is one of those things that really brings the smell out of Thanksgiving.
And this is rosemary, so dried rosemary.
That's so good. Can't go wrong with that.
So we got some white pepper here. That stuff's pretty strong. I love white pepper. It adds a different kind of spiciness.
Right.
It's subtle and
then you don't see it, so you
then,
don't know it's there. But it's there.
For that Alfredo white sauce, you need the white pepper.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're gonna add some cranberries here.
Ooh, fresh
Dried cranberries.
Dried cranberries, guys.
So this is our vegetable stock here. We're gonna add some vegetable stock. I'll just go ahead and pour that in there. I'm gonna add most of this so it soaks up all that goodness in the breadcrumbs. And I'm gonna add some parsley in there too.
Nice color to it.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the season here. Here we go.
It's officially Thanksgiving season now, Shane.
That's it.
Now that we've kicked this off.
Time flies, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and show what we're working with.
Got it. That's good. Beautiful. We're gonna just pop this in the oven really quick. All right. So we got our stuffing going. Next up, we'll do our gravy.
I was gonna say.
So for our gravy, we're gonna do chipotle cider gravy. So we were talking earlier about your chipotle recipe that you did in the past. I love how you took those non-traditional approaches with your Thanksgiving meal and made that your tradition.
Right.
And I think it's one that I might actually borrow myself because I just love the idea so much. All right, so now that we got our stuffing going, we'll jump into our gravy.
Okay.
And we're gonna make this chipotle cider gravy. Inspired by you and your chipotle recipe. So we're gonna start by sauteing a little bit of onions. I'll put some oil in the pan here.
Onions always smell so good.
Our next ingredient is gonna be a little bit of maple syrup.
Okay.
The maple syrup is gonna help to caramelize the onions really nicely and brown them. And that's gonna be a really nice flavor element for the gravy.
Nice. Definitely never thought to make the gravy chipotle. Well, that's good to know that there's always a curveball you could throw in.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, I think that's the best part about collaborating is just you end up to find yourself in a place where you might not have ended up by yourself.
Yeah.
So I love that.
And then you also learn something new from another person and their approach to life.
Exactly.
It's great.
It is. It's kind of a metaphor for life again. Yeah.
Keep circling back to that point. It's great. What's so great about working for Everytable, especially being in your position?
I'm so fortunate. I've been very fortunate in my career as a cook and a chef and have worked for some great companies. But Everytable is so unique and special because of our mission. Our mission, not just to make good food, but to provide it to more people, especially the underserved and the privileged. And so, for me, that really, is important to me personally. As a chef, I think it's in our DNA to want to nourish people and feed our communities. And so, not only, am I proud and love the food that we create, but also the difference that it makes in people's lives and the ability to use food as that vehicle for change.
Right.
And I think you spoke about that earlier, and it's just something that means so much to me. And again, that's where I think that this collaboration can be so impactful. And so I'm lucky enough to be able to work at Everytable and use my skills and gifts, and hopefully be able to try to make a difference in others' lives. So
Trying to refrain from being a little kid in here because cooking brings the wackiness out of me, but I guess that's what's so great about food,
Yeah.
Your wackiness might be something special. So
And food's so, what I love about food is it is so community driven, and it's such an important piece of community, but it's also so individual, right? And like everybody has their personal, and with our meals and with Everytable meals, I'll see different people eating the same meal. They'll eat them eat them differently. Someone will drizzle sauce, someone will dip it, someone will shake their salad. So it becomes very much this experience. And I think, when you visit our stores, you see that experience in the stores as well. And,
right.
Using our stores to bring community together.
I know it's got to be tough trying to always figure out another combination.
It is tricky, but we also listen to our customers and our communities and the people that we serve. We work to provide them with food that resonates with them, and do so using Everytable's scale and size, and do it in a way that they can afford. We do work hard to listen and be inspired by the communities we serve. And, we focus on great ingredients too, because that's such an important, as you know, chef, the basis of any great meal is great ingredients.
Of course.
And so, we always work hard to try to source the freshest and best ingredients. One of the things I'm also very passionate about personally, but also, for Everytable is not relying on processed foods too. And it's a very simple philosophy because, it tastes better, and it's it's a better tasting product, but it also is better for you.
Yeah.
So we can rely on some of those other things like caramelizing onions as a flavor base instead of relying on processed foods that might add a lot of fat or sodium. So we have our cider, so we'll let that cook down just a little bit. What's your favorite herb?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm a pasta guy, so I gotta say basil.
Basil.
Basil is kind of one of my things. I like chimichurris.
Yeah.
Big fan of them.
Yeah. We love chimichurri at Everytable.
Yeah,
it's a great way to add bright, fresh flavor.
Yeah, and it gives a good contrast to the plate. You look at it and you're like, oh, this looks very rustic. So, and then my daughter, she loves proteins. So chimichurris go well with the proteins that she eats.
So good.
I tried homemade pizzas with my daughter.
Nice.
I've also used her class to do 3-ingredient pastas, and they end up eating the pasta after. It was quite an event because it was her pre-K class. So it was a bunch of younger kids, and all they wanted to do was make a mess,
right? But
not make the pasta.
That sounds like my kids.
The fun part is that just seeing their happy faces, knowing that they were doing something that excited them, and they had no idea.
And kids, the more that you can impart kind of that curiosity and kind of, that knowledge around food and how food is so impactful on your health, you set those habits for life. All right, chef, you ready to add some chicken stock?
Let's do it.
So it's just a really nice chicken stock, simple.
Saline.
You can add it all. Beautiful.
Can't go wrong with chicken stock.
Chicken stock makes everything good.
What got you started in the passion of being a chef?
I started probably like many chefs, was curious about food, started early in the kitchen, wanting to help my grandmother, my German grandmother.
Oh, nice.
My mother is a great cook. My dad was an early, an early foodie, if you will. And, I spent a lot of time with him in the kitchen. But really, I found myself as a young teenager needing a way to make money.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and so I spent every summer working in local restaurants, and each summer, I'd achieve a new level and go to a new station. Started at dishwasher, and then it was garde manger, and and then it was the hotline, and did that throughout high school and college, and finally found myself in Boulder, Colorado, in a position where I was offered a sous chef role at a young age and kind of made that life decision. That was a big fork in the road, was kind of take that role and follow my passion or continue studying business in school. And so I dropped out of school and became a chef. 20 something years later, here I am.
Man, best decision of your life.
It is best decision of my life. Definitely the tastiest decision of my life.
I hear that. I'm saying this is what's so great about cooking is just like, it's weird because like, you want to be a chef, but then you realize you get into the kitchen and you're like, did I really want to do this?
Right.
Because this is so hard.
It's very hard. I think a lot of, there was a long period of time where culinary schools were popping up and growing. A lot of people were indoctrinated into culinary through Food Network and all of those things. And I think a lot of people ended up with that regret and saying and transitioning into another career. Again, I said I was very lucky. I spent a lot of years in fine dining, New York City, Michelin-starred restaurants, but I did it early. I did it early in my career, and then I transitioned into R&D, and it was a good decision because it was a little easier on my body and my back and all of those things.
Still long hours, just not heavy lifting.
Still long hours, not as much 50-gallon buckets of chicken stock.
Man, don't miss those days, I'll tell you.
No, me either. So this is the most important ingredient. So this is some chipotle.
Okay, so this one first?
You can do, yeah. I don't think at this point there's no particular order. We can.
Chipotle.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to think about what you think about the spice level.
Well, me personally, I like a lot of spice.
Yeah.
I used to have to put a lot of hot sauce on my plate because my wife would always reach over and eat the same. We would have the same exact plate, but I guess my plate tasted better.
Your plate tastes better, yeah.
So I'd always tell her, do you like hot sauce? No, I hate it. Just to keep it to myself.
So this is almost finished. Once we're gonna bring this up, we're gonna add our slurry to it and thicken that up.
Make sure the slurry is nice and...
So the slurry, we were talking about earlier, is just a great way to thicken gravies and sauces and even soups quickly. So just mixing that cornstarch with a little bit of water and bringing it to a simmer and adding that at the last minute. If you ever find yourself at home with a soup that's too thin or a sauce that's too thin, a little bit of cornstarch and water slurry. All right, chef, we're ready for your slurry there.
All right, let's go.
Add that in. It's gonna
stir this up real quick.
Up.
Let's pour that all in there. Nice.
Okay.
Oh, it's already looking amazing.
So as that comes up, it's gonna thicken up. So why don't you add our herbs in there? And then we'll add in our butter.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, the butter, it adds a little bit of smoothness and richness to the gravy. Again, I think, we always try to balance richness and flavor.
Good.
All right, so our gravy is pretty much done, but while that's kind of gonna simmer, we're gonna move on to our last thing, which is our roasted Brussels sprouts. So
nice.
Got some beautiful Brussels there. You were saying that you liked Brussels sprouts earlier, and that is that something you in the past have included in your Thanksgiving meals?
Yes, I like to do Brussels sprouts with a little bit of shallots, a little bit of onions, some honey, and
a little sweetness.
A splash of whiskey just to burn it off. Give it a little
whiskey. I like that.
Yeah, give it that caramelization that we're looking for. And then one time I made them by accident. I didn't think my wife liked them, but she ended up liking them, and it just became like one of those vegetables that you had to have on hand.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was growing up, these were one of those vegetables that I had no idea how great they tasted.
Right.
I just heard the name and I was like, oh, this is disgusting. I don't want nothing to do with it.
I can't tell you how proud my stepfather is of me that I'm eating Brussels sprouts now, because it was such a challenge to get me to eat them. But like the Brussels sprouts that you and I were raised on back in the day, they were different than the Brussels sprouts today. Oh,
yes. I mean, if you do these right, you can put it with anything.
All right, chef. Pan's all yours.
Let's do it. So I got into this cooking, and one day I was on the job, and I can tell you, I had to like second guess myself. I said, am I sure I'm doing the right thing here? Am I happy with what's going on? Oh yeah.
Yes, you starting to get some of that nice color there.
It's beautiful. Yeah, no, I was just like second guessing myself, and then realized nothing comes easy in life. Being able to make something and have a smile on someone's face at the end of the day is so rewarding. It makes all that hard work just seem like it was worth it,
You nailed it. That's the reward at the end of the day, is like no matter where like what you're doing or why you're cooking or who you're cooking for, I mean, that's really at the end of the day, like, the reward is seeing that smile, that happy, and doing that through food. And food is such a powerful vehicle for emotion. And
see, back in the days, you would have never thought that. You would have thought food is food,
Yeah.
Now food has so much to it.
Well, our stuffing's almost ready. So we're almost ready to plate our meal and taste it. I've worked up a lot of appetite here, and it smells so good.
Man,
I'm ready to eat.
Amazing.
So, Chef, you want to give that a spin? I'm going to check on our stuffing here. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, stuffing's coming out looking pretty good here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, then our Brussels and our gravy is here. So, I'm just going to
switch this out.
heat up some of these sweet potatoes here. So, these are just sweet potatoes that we simmer down, finished with a little bit of honey, some nutmeg, some seasoning, cayenne, a little white pepper. So we got our stuffing, we got our Brussels, sweet potatoes are going, our gravy is nice and hot, our turkey roasted that we pre-sliced, and we're just gonna warm that up. All right, Chef.
Let's go ahead and
let's put on the plate.
Brussels sprouts. Looking forward for this right here.
Yeah, those look nicely roasted. And then you go right on top with the cranberry.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
So good.
All right, Chef. Bon appetit.
Let's do it. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, you got to get everything on one bite, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's officially Thanksgiving now. We got Thanksgiving encapsulated on a plate.
This is the epitome of Thanksgiving. I want it. Wow, what an inspiration, huh? She would have loved this.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, man. Thank you for your, inspiration and just your passion for food, man. It's really, and imparting us with Stephanie's memory of that and so many things to take away from this experience for me personally. So again, thank you so much.
Man, thank you. This is really good. I appreciate it.
Well, I can't wait till we go and have one of these in Santa Monica together.
That would be nice.
Everytable store, for sure.
I'll see you there.
Yes, sir. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.